Do not start with capital, no matter what anyone says.
Starting your journey to understand communism by reading Materialism and Imperial Criticism or Higher Stage of Capitalism will just lead to disaster. You're not going to understand them. Those texts are rooted in Marx's critique of political economy. If you haven't understood that critique, you're not going to be able to understand those texts. How can somebody understand a higher stage of capitalism if they don't know what capitalism is? If you think you understand capitalism without reading Capital, you're wrong. It would be like trying to understand the combustion engine by reading about astrodynamics. Conversely, reading texts like the Communist Manifesto or Value, Price and Profit would be like trying to understand the combustion engine by reading about horse maintenance. The only way you're going to understand communism is by understanding Marx's critique of capitalism, and there's no other text available other than Capital that will provide that critique. There are resources in my link tree, including podcasts and books that you can read and listen to alongside reading Capital. I recommend this book to read alongside Capital. It gives you a guide on how to read the first 7 chapters and explains some of the more complicated ideas. With a little bit of time and commitment, anybody can read and understand Capital. Don't listen to the naysayers. Hello to all the new followers. It's nice to have new followers. Welcome. I have some book suggestions for all of you. They're books that have been written in the last 10 years, so not by Karl Marx. They're important books, I think, and I think you should read them. Communization and its discontents, contestation, critique, and contemporary struggles. From Crisis to Communization by Gilles Dauvé. Everything Must Go, The Abolition of Value, also by Gilles Dauvé. Automation and the Future of Work by Aaron Benanav. This is a great book. Orgasms of History, 3,000 Years of Spontaneous Insurrection. Riot, Strike, Riot by Joshua Clover. The New Era of Uprisings, and Philosophy for Militants by Elaine Badiou. I want to recommend 6 history books. The first one is October by China Miéville. If you are new to the history of the Russian Revolution and you want an introductory text, this is the book. It's really accessible, it's really easy to read, and it reads like a fiction book. The Russian Anarchist by Paul Avrich. It's a comprehensive history of Russian anarchism, starting with Bakunin and going all the way up to the Russian Revolution. You don't have to be an anarchist to read it, and if you're not an anarchist, I would recommend reading it so you can perhaps get a better perspective on what the Russian anarchists tried to achieve. If you want to read a history of the Russian Revolution that cuts through the Trotskyist and Marxist Leninist dogmas, then I would suggest Russia, Revolution and Counter-Revolution, A View from the Communist Left. It gives an in-depth analysis and an internationalist perspective on what transpired. I really recommend it. If you're desperate to know more about German communism in this time period, then I would recommend this book, but it is quite dry and it is quite academic. Nevertheless, it's packed full of information and it really will give you an in-depth knowledge of what was going on. This is one of my favourite political biographies, Bakunin, The Creative Passion by Mark Lear. It's full of humour and it gives you a great understanding, an in-depth understanding of Bakunin, his ideas and the time in which he lived. And it's also just a great fun read. I really recommend it. Finally, the first volume of Michael Heinrich's 3-volume biography, Karl Marx and the Birth of Modern Society. It's packed full of information. It can tend towards dryness sometimes, but there's just so much going on in it, and it's so brilliantly written. This is going to be the seminal work on Karl Marx, so I would really recommend getting stuck into this. The question of revolutionary strategy is a huge one, and I wouldn't be able to get into it effectively in some TikTok comments. I'd probably need to make several videos in order to explain my position on revolutionary strategy. But I think there are some good starting texts that I'd like to recommend. Those texts are The Present Moment by Roland Simon, Communist Measures by Leon de Mattis, Spontaneity, Mediation and Rupture by Endnotes, Logistics, Counter-Logistics and the Communist Prospect by Jasper Burns, Revolutionary Motives by Jasper Burns, and The Paris Commune by Karl Marx. All of those texts are online if you want to read them. I just wanted to do a quick shout out to Verso Books because I love Verso Books and I buy a lot of books from them. I've just bought this book, On the Dictatorship of the Proletariat by French philosopher Etienne Balibar. And I've also bought this, which I'm very excited about because I haven't read it before. Louis Althusser's Philosophy of the Encounter, which are some of the writings he did when he was sectioned in hospital at the end of his life. So I'm really excited about that. This is about his philosophy, aleatory materialism, which was an attempt to sort of rid historical materialism of its humanism and its economic determinism. So I'm really super excited about that. I'm also excited about this, less excited, although it does have an afterword by Louis Althusser. But it'll be interesting to see what they have to say about this. The dictatorship of the proletariat, I mean. But yeah, a shout out to Verso Books. If you are interested in buying books about Marxist theory or Marxian theory, or all things radical politics, you should go to Verso Books and check them out. If you've never ordered from them before, you can, when you sign up, you get 40% off, which you can apply to your first purchase. So if you buy loads of books, then you essentially get it half free. Half price. So go and check them out. Verso Books. Here's the web address. All right, bye.